Welcome back to the studio. And I wanted to share with you my excitement at receiving this, the Field Notes Summer 2025 edition, which is a tie-in with one of my favourite contemporary authors, the wonderful Robert Macfarlane. The author of this book here, Is a River Alive? A subject which is very dear to my heart. As viewers of John Rogers Walks will know, I spend a lot of time walking rivers, and I see them as incredibly precious parts of our ecosystem as humans, not just as literal ecosystem. So the combination of Robert Macfarlane and Field Notes is almost too good to be true, and so I couldn't. The minute I saw this, I was in the pub. I do spend quite a bit of my time in the pub, I must admit. It's where I do a lot of my thinking, a lot of my writing, in a notebook like this, in a Field Notes. This is a perfect pub pocket notebook. That's difficult to say, isn't it? Pub pocket notebook. So I ordered it straight away from the US. I couldn't find these in the UK, and so I spent as much on the postage as I did on the book itself. And then I was at Hatchard's at the Authors of the Year reception, I was unbelievably flattered and humbled to be invited to. That could be what they call a humble brag straight there, isn't it? And I bought this when I was at Hatchard's, so I kept the Hatchard's thing. I love Hatchard's bookshop. Is it the oldest bookshop in London? I think it possibly is the oldest bookshop in London, isn't it, Hatchard's, in Piccadilly, where I've been very fortunate to do some talks recently, and over the last year and a half. Again, another humble brag there. Although that wasn't particularly humble, was it? It was just a brag. But that's where I got it. I got a signed edition, and I wanted to read a few pages of it before I talked about these and made this video. It's a fantastic book. It is a fantastic book. And I'm going to crack these open on camera. So straight away, I'm doing my first ever unboxing. It's not unboxing, it's an unwrapping rather than an unboxing. But isn't it just when you see them together like this, that really is a kind of beautiful combination. I believe in the United States, some retailers are selling these together as a 2-pack. I don't think it exists in the UK, sadly. The book, by the way, I've read 30, 40 pages. I've taken so many quotes out of it already. It's an amazing. It's not just an amazing book. It's a fantastic one, obviously, on basis of having read the introduction. But it's one of those books which is a beautiful read, and you'll love to read it. But it's also an incredibly vital and important book, and the message is so profound. And I'm writing currently a book about rivers in London, and there's so much of it relates to what I'm working on. And I was reading this the other day in a local cafe, which is on the banks of a buried river, the buried river Phillybrook, and it felt like a perfect place to be reading this book, and it will be the perfect place to be scribbling in these Field Notes Summer 2025 edition. And the designer of the cover of this book, Stanley Donwood, who I believe has collaborated with Robert Macfarlane on a few books before. He's collaborated with him certainly on a book called Ness, about the really mysterious, incredible Orford Ness, one of the most uncanny places I've ever been anywhere in the world. It ranks for me when I went to the top of an active volcano in Sumatra. It's got that kind of vibe, but it's just it's sort of on the Suffolk coast. It's an incredible place. I'll link below to a video I made when I went to Orford Ness. And Stanley Donwood has done a cover for this book here, for Is a River Alive, and collaborated on the covers of this 3-pack of pocket notebooks, which we will get into. I don't know, I ordered this without even knowing what type of paper it is. I have a real preference myself. I prefer the dotted paper, my previous Field Notes notebooks. These are the ones I've used in the past. I think this is called the Pitch Black edition, which are great. And this has the dotted paper. These, of the two, these are my favourites that I've used. I love these, the Field Notes, the Expedition edition, which are fantastic, the waterproof edition. And I love the shiny paper on these. And the paper inside a notebook is really important to me. It really influences how much I want to use a notebook. And I have no idea what the paper is inside these, whether it's dotted, grid, lined, maybe it's one of each, but we'll find out. I've waffled on for too long. Let's crack these open and see what's inside. So Robert Macfarlane is himself a field notes enthusiast, a field notes user, and there's a quote on the field notes website for this edition that talks about always having either a pack of field notes or a field notes in pocket or pack when they were writing this book. This vital book, Is a River Alive? So there is a direct relationship between these wonderful pocket notebooks and the actual writing of the book itself. So I find unwrapping cellophane really difficult, so I'm going to have to use a little craft knife, which obviously I'm very keen not to damage the notebooks, but I've gone ahead and actually opened the seal a little bit. So let's unwrap these and have a look. So this is a really beautifully embossed cover here. Yeah, it's got a raised cover. I'm not sure if that will come out on the camera. It's got a shine to it. It's really lovely. I love the way that the meanders and the tendrils of the water courses of the rivers work their way through the text here, through the font. That's really beautiful. And on the back, we've got a quote from Robert Macfarlane here. The river's song is the song of songs, sung in spirals and stars and roars and other notes beyond hearing. So what's the paper inside? This top one here, and this is grid paper. I think it's the standard field notes paper inside. So field notes users will be familiar with this. It's a really durable paper. It's really lovely to write on, and will take a number of pens. You can write on this with a gel pen without it kind of going through. I tend to write most of the time with a Uniball eye, and on some notebooks, actually Moleskines, it will go through. A little bit with Leuchtturm, it will go through. You can't write on the Expedition edition with a gel pen because it will run everywhere. You have to write with a ballpoint. So this is a very durable, and this is a wonderful. This is standard, I think, in field notes notebooks. Is this bit here where you fill these things at the beginning, but instead of your address, it says pertinent coordinates. This is where, for people that spend a lot of time outside, walking or exploring, this really does push our buttons. The way you record the dates in here as well. I mean, it's really beautifully, thoughtfully put together. And this is one of the beauties of field notes. I'm anticipating what might be on the inside back cover. Again, these are beautiful and individual to each edition of field notes. And it talks about the first bit is the standard bit, actually, up here, and then practical applications relate to the content of the book. Yeah, which is lovely. What have we got here? Some of them here. Prayers to the river gods. Love that. Hopefully that is a reference to the Ben Aronovich Rivers of London's books, where the deities of each of the London rivers are people living in London. Raft repairs, names of waterfalls, sketches of eddy whirls. Love that. What else have we got? Downstream visitations. Really beautiful. Catalogues of minor injuries. I usually pick up a few minor injuries when I'm doing a river walk. Bear sightings, well, if that happens in London or in the UK, you've got something to worry about, something to report. Love it. Contact mic recording index. Oh, I want to do some contact mic recordings, and also what they called aquaphone recordings as well would be a good thing to have on there. So that's that edition. What's in this one here? And this is this looks like part of the embossed nature of this. Again, it's sort of, the way it interacts with the text is really beautiful. A tool. I guess this is maybe what Stanley Donwood used in the creation of the image, perhaps, when he was carving wood. Back cover, we have a different quote. Rivers are easily wounded, but given a chance, they heal themselves with remarkable speed. Their life pours back. I read that bit not long ago. And these are all graph paper. And on the back, same index on the back there. And then we have specifications about the actual paper and the book and the ink. It's lovely. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. And a little bit down here referencing back to the book is A River Alive. And then the final one in the 3-pack. This has got a slightly different texture. So what I love about the detail is the texture on the cover for each of these is different. It's not the same textured cover for each one. They all are slightly different. And this one again, down this bit down here, is really lovely. There is a YouTube channel I really like watching here called Blank First Page, and he is a field notes obsessive, but he likes to really distress his field notes in lots of ways. I wonder if he'll do that to this edition. And here's another wonderful quote: "Spring becomes stream, becomes river, and all three seek the sea." Ah. There is something magical about going back to the source of a river. And again, grid, and the inside back cover, I imagine, is probably the same. Yeah, it is the same. Wow, how wonderful. How absolutely beautiful. And then we've got the little bit of card that comes with it. It tells us about the artwork for this edition was created by Stanley Donwood for the cover of the USA and UK editions of Robert Macfarlane's Is a River Alive, which documents an exhilarating 3-part exploration of the concept that rivers are not mere matter for human use, but living beings who should be recognised in both imagination and law. And that's correct. Robert Macfarlane establishes early on about using human kind of pronouns for rivers, rather than saying a river which flows, you say a river who flows. I love that. And I am going to, Robert, I am going to use that in my book about rivers in London, because I think that's quite correct. I talk about the rivers. I tend to gender the rivers. Great, and obviously the classic field notes quote: "I'm not writing it down to remember it later, I'm writing it down to remember it now." How wonderful, how wonderful. So these have been sat next to my desk. I received them, I think, during the week, and I was waiting to have read a bit of the book before I could crack them open. So I think I've been unbelievably restrained in having them sat there in the envelope. They even take them out of the envelope so I could genuinely experience it for the first time now. What a wonderful book, and what an amazing compliment to that book these field notes journals are. They're almost too nice. I almost don't want to encase them. I use this little leather cover. It's difficult. I want to protect the covers, but I almost don't want to hide them from the world. A good dilemma to have. So I'm going to move my quotes from Is a River Alive over into one of these. What do they call that? Is that a commonplace notebook? I am coming to the end of my current everyday notebook, my current pocket notebook that I bought in Trieste in Italy for €1.95. Great notebook this. I've loved it, and it's coming to an end, so I'm going to move over to one of these now. I was going to make a video, like a short, saying which one shall I use next, but I know which one I'm going to use next. It's disingenuous of me to pretend that I'm not going to use one of these wonderful Field Notes Summer 2025 edition notebooks to carry with the book. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing. And I'll be taking this to rivers on my river walks, to springs and to wells. I might go up to the Mossy Well in Muswell Hill in North London tomorrow, and I'll put one of these in my bag to get the blessing of the spring. It was a site of pilgrimage, that spring. I'm not going to start waffling about that now, but these are wonderful. These are really, really wonderful, and they're a fantastic compliment to Robert Macfarlane's essential book. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing to the channel, those of you that have, and thanks for coming on this journey in my writer's room in John's studio notebook. So thanks very much. Take care. I still haven't got the sign off yet. Someone did suggest one. I can't even remember it, so it's not embedded itself in my mind. Maybe something like, "I'll see you on the next page." I'll see you on the next page. Does that work? Is it a bit too short? Good dilemma to have. Take care. Have a great week. See you soon.